when the Elden Ring DLC first came out, the EUPORIA, in my opinion, was one of the coolest weapons to use. Alright? It looked cool, but not only that, it looked even cooler when you activated its buffs, which is obtained through consecutive attacks of the weapon. Light attacks, heavy attacks, whatever, okay? The weapon gets infused with more and more holy damage the more attacks you land, and then when it's fully activated, when it's fully charged, you activate its Ash of War, EUPORIA Vortex, which launches a bunch of holy projectiles towards the enemy and does a bunch of stance damage, alright? Unfortunately, before the patch, it was pretty mid, this whole combo that I'm explaining, okay? And mostly, it was due to the fact that it just took too long to get the buffs going. It took too many attacks, it took too much time, and you know, by the time you're fully charged, the bosses are beating your ass, low-key, okay? At least my ass, alright? So I stopped using it before the patch. Luckily, again, as we most know, the patch came out and holy shit, this weapon is kind of crazy. Alright? They increased the holy damage, which they didn't need to do, by the way. And, most importantly, they decreased the number of attacks required to gain this buff. Alright? Now it only takes a few light heavy attacks, a couple charged heavy attacks, and you're good to go, and you can launch the EUPORIA Vortex and most likely kill the boss. With playing with this newly amped up EUPORIA buff, some of the bosses I was fighting didn't get to do shit in their second phase, because when they reached their second phase, I had a fully buffed EUPORIA, put on the Ash of War, charged that bit, and then they were just dead, as you can see in these intro clips. Alright? So if you're looking for a holy damage build that hits really, really hard and utilizes new stuff in the Elden Ring DLC, then I think this is the build for you. I had a lot of fun playing this build, and I am very excited to share with you guys what I did and what to do. So without further ado, let's get into the guide. Alright, we have come to the point of the video where a lot of you are going to exit, so take a quick screenshot, go ahead, leave the video. I understand, I get it. But maybe you can, you know, leave a like at least at this point, or something like that, okay? Anyway, before I get started, if you don't know where to find any of these items, bruh, just Google it. Just Google it, okay? Google it. Go to the Elden Ring wiki. They will tell you, or go to a YouTube video, another YouTube video. They will tell you much more efficiently and faster than I can, alright? So boom. Anyway, here's the build. EUPORIA, plus 10, EUPORIA Vortex. We scale it with faith. As you can see, the holy damage goes crazy. It's around like 300, 400. Nuts. That's not including all the buffs that we do. Okay, so boom, that's the EUPORIA. And for our offhand, we're actually going to use a Sword of Light. It doesn't have to be, I don't think it has to be plus 10, but we mainly use it for its Ash of War. The Ash of War on this weapon buffs holy damage by 20%, so it's pretty fucking sizable. So I would definitely want to use this weapon for this build, okay? And for the seal, you can use whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I just use, you know, if you're just using it for buffs, the finger seal plus 0 will do. I just figured, you know, you got 80 faith, might as well put on a seal that has S tier in incantation scaling, and you might want to use, you know, a fire skill or a lightning skill, because, you know, I think there are a couple bosses in the game that are holy resistant, or a lot, you know, a hefty amount. So maybe you want to use something else. So here, yeah, if you want to use incantations, use the Erdtree seal. But if you just want to slap your ass with the EUPORIA, then just use a finger seal. All right. So boom, those are the weapons: EUPORIA, Sword of Light, Erdtree seal, finger seal if you want. For the armor, we're going to use mostly the Rakshasa set, because it's 2% of damage per piece, and of course, it lets us be above that 51 poise. Very important, 51 poise, so we can not get mini staggered by light attacks. But also, the interesting choice here is the Lita's armor, okay? And the reason why we use this, we're going to go ahead and read it real quick. Slightly strengthens attacks following a dodge roll, a backstep, as well as dash attacks. This includes running attacks. Dash attacks includes running attacks. And the whole time you want to make sure you keep hitting the boss. So if they run away from you, you better run back to the boss and hit it. Okay. Also, the running attack for Twin Blades hit multiple times, so it works perfectly. I actually found myself mostly running attack to gain the buff, because running attacks, they're not like charged heavies. Charged heavies they're a little slow. You know what I mean? But running attacks, whether it be light or heavy, they're pretty fast. So I utilize that to be able to get the EUPORIA buff as fast as I can with running attacks, and it worked perfectly. All right, so boom, there's the armor again. For the talismans, we're running the two-handed sword talisman, because most of our to be able to get to the second EUPORIA buff, we have to use light attacks, we have to use normal attacks, heavy attacks, running attacks, and the two-handed sword talisman buffs all of that. All right, so boom, that's how we use that. And of course, we're using the Shard of Alexander to buff the skill. Once our EUPORIA is fully buffed, you want to find a window to charge up that EUPORIA vortex and deal massive damage. All right, each boss has at least one or two attacks where you are able to do this, and maybe you'll either kill them, stagger them, whatever you want, or just deal most of their HP. All right, so boom, Shard of Alexander. The next two, obviously, we're playing a multi-hit build, and if you're playing a multi-hit build, you're probably using the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia and the Millicent's Prosthesis. Another good option for a talisman, I would probably swap out the Shard of Alexander if you wanted to for the Sacred Scorpion Charm. But the reason why I didn't do this is because you do take more damage, and you know, if you're a bad player like me, that means you're gonna die more. Okay, so I didn't use this because I was scared, but it might be the better option, because the Shard of Alexander only buffs your Ash of War, but this one buffs everything. So if you're nasty, go ahead and use Sacred Scorpion Charm. Aight? But yeah, this is the weapon set, the armor set, the talismans that I chose to use. Now let's go to the physique. Look at the character, looks cool, huh? The physique, we're gonna go ahead, put the Thorny Cracked here, obviously the Thorny Cracked here, because we're consecutive attacking, all that shit. And then, personally, this is my first time using the Holy Shroud and Crack tier. I've never used this tier, and I'm very excited to finally find a build that can use it. And of course, these two are very self-explanatory. They buff our damage, they make us hit harder, whatever. There really isn't any other option for this build for tiers, so I would just stick to these. Okay. Now let's go to our spells. The only spell we're concerned with is Golden Vow. Okay, I did recently find, though, there's if you have a lot of faith, there are a lot of interesting incantations, like Blessing of the Erdtree, which gives you HP regen. So if you wanted to, and it lasts a long time too, if you wanted to, you can go ahead and use this to add some more defense. But for me, I just stick with my Golden Vow and call it a day. You can also use Flame Grant Me Strength if you wanted to, but most of our damage is holy anyway, so you wouldn't really get too much of a benefit from this. So I just stick with the Golden Vow. All right. Next is our Great Rune, which is, of course, if you've been watching any of my videos, I like to use the Radahn's Great Rune for two reasons. One, it's great to have extra HP, extra FP, and extra stamina. But reason number two is I'm not dependent on it. I think in a normal playthrough of Elden Ring, you get like 20 rune arcs. That is 20 deaths you are allowed until you run out of Great Rune effects, which is why I don't use the better Great Rune. This is the best Great Rune, and it's not even close, because this gives you 30 levels of levels, okay, of attributes. But you know, a lot of builds, a lot of people depend on this. Okay, the only time that I would want to use this Great Rune is if I was doing a Deathless run or a Rune level 1 run, which I do plan to do, by the way. Okay, but I don't want to depend on it because I'm bad and I will die. So therefore, I use this because it's great to have, but I don't have to depend on it. All right, so boom, Radahn's Great Rune, and no Ashes of War. So that is that. Let's go ahead and move on to the stats. Okay. What? Stats. We're level 148. Very doable. We're even less than 150. And we shredded every single boss. I shredded every single boss, including Radahn. No one stood a chance. It was kind of crazy. All right. I was very surprised. You know, the EUPORIA got buffed. Okay. So let's go over the stats. 60 vigor, soft cap for HP, high HP. It's nice to have. You most likely will not get one shot by any of the boss mechanics. So boom, it gives you some room, some cushion to make some mistakes here and there. Okay, so boom, 60 vigor, 15 mind. For me, I like having 15 mind. It puts me above 100 mana, and I can cast on my buffs without having to mana pot type shit. Yeah, I just like having 15 mind. So what? It's my comfy zone for mind. Okay, same thing with endurance. Every build. I like to have 30 endurance to give me enough stamina to roll around and do my attacks, but also to make sure I stay in that medium load territory when it comes to wearing armor. All right, because fat rolling is not the business. If I would prefer to light roll to light load, but the Rakshasa set is just way too good not to use. Okay, so boom, 30 endurance. Now 11 strength. I know that looks weird, and normally I don't like leaving stats at like 1, non-intervals of 5, but the reason why I have 11 strength is because the weapon requires 16 strength. Okay, when you two-hand it at 11 strength, it counts as 16 strength or more than that. So that's why I have 11 strength, literally just for that reason. Same thing with dexterity. I put 1 point into dexterity, and the Millicent's prosthesis, one of the talismans, gives me 5 more dex. You need 16 strength and 16 dex to wear the weapon. So by two-handing it, I can fulfill this requirement. So that's why strength and dex are weirdly where they are, but it's exactly the amount you need. Okay, so boom. And of course, our most important stat, which gives us all the holy damage in the world, faith at 80. All right, and that's it. I mean, shit. I guess now I can show you guys what to do. All right, so just before you get to the boss fight, okay, you're gonna go ahead and do it like this. You're gonna physic. Wow. You're gonna vow. Boom. You're gonna two-hand the Sword of Light to be able to use its Ash of War. Holy shit. You're gonna drink a mana pot. You're going to go back to the original weapon, two-hand it, and then you're ready to go, okay? In most fights, I was doing running attacks, dodging, running attacks, dodging, a charged heavy here and there, and a light attack here and there, and then I had a fully charged vortex. Now, here's what helped me when knowing when my EUPORIA was buffed. It's pretty easy. So for the first buff, it shines a little bit, and the second buff, it like emits holy light. So the buffs are really easy to see aesthetically. And then when you see it's fully buffed, go ahead and charge that special, and that will shoot projectiles and most likely kill the boss. Yeah. So yeah, that's the build, man. That's the build. Super fun to play. For me, I think this is actually the first holy damage build I've ever done in this game. Because, I mean, I don't know. I played a lot of Elden Ring before the expansion. There really wasn't any holy damage faith build. There probably was 1 or 2, but they were pretty mid. You know, they were just outclassed by bleed, outclassed by multi-attack build, outclassed by stagger build. You know what I'm saying? But this is definitely the best and maybe even top 5 builds in the whole game. And it does holy damage. So that's awesome. That's refreshing. So yeah. If you guys like the build, if you guys like the video, if this helped you out at all, or you kind of hate me, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share the video to your friends. I don't know. If you want to watch any live gameplay, I stream every now and then on my twitch.tv/Kotokobe, and I also plan to stream on here, the whole multi-stream shit. You know what I'm saying, on the YouTubes, and that's about it, man. Okay. I plan to... So what other videos do I plan to make? There are still some build videos I plan to do. I know some other weapons got buffed after the patch. I do plan to do that. Okay. So look out for that. And of course, I want to do a new game +7 run, possibly deathless. And I want to do a rune level 1 run as well. Because why the fuck not? That sounds fun. I've done those things in the normal game, in the base game. So why not do them for the DLC, right? But yeah, anyway... Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see y'all on the next Elden Ring build video guide. Maybe. Okay, bye.